Hi guys, this is Lalana. Thanks for tuning in to the Sovereign Path. So today we're going to talk about the reflection, right? The outer world, and how it is always reflecting what is going on within us, back to us. So when we're talking about being on the Twin Flame Path, we're talking about being on Awakening Path, because these are synonymous, these are one and the same. If you are a true twin flame going through this dynamic, then you are going through an awakening process, because that is the purpose of your self incarnating itself to reflect itself back to itself, to awaken out of the dream. So I'm going to keep hitting on that over and over again, because it's a really important, it's the most important aspect of this path, right? Is ascension, and you coming back into the awareness of who you are, of who you truly are as pure consciousness. So when we're talking about doing all of sort of the self-reflecting work, the inner work, the shadow work, all of these sort of things, what we really need to keep in mind is that whatever is going on within our external reality, right? Whatever is going on outside of us, including what is going on with the Divine Masculine, is simply that. It is simply a reflection of what's going on within us. So I've been talking a lot about coming back into self-love, coming back into the place of remembrance that you are love, that you are always love, that love is a vibration, it is an actual frequency, and it's an actual existence. And when we embody this, this energy, this frequency, not that you are not that, and I have to continue to say this, you are always that, right? You are always love, you are always love. It is just the veil that comes up between you and love, and you and your true self, which is the belief systems, the programs, the mind, the ego, all of these sort of things, is the veil that is between you and you, right? And so when we're on this path, when we're on an awakening path, when we're on a twin flame path, that is the awareness of, I am putting up a veil between me and me, based on all of the programs and the belief systems and the things that I am running off of the ego mind, right? Off of the thought patterns, all of those sorts of things. So when we're coming back into this place of remembrance that I am not thought, that I am not my mind, that this is just an experience that I'm having here in form, and we come back into that remembrance that we are love, then that means that everything, as within so without, is reflected back to us in that same frequency, right? It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. These are universal laws. This is the law of attraction. This is the law of assumption. So if I am love, then I am going to be attracting that same love into my reality. This is how energy works. This is how we work. This is why when we come back into that self-loving place and we are anchored within it, the Divine Masculine shows back up, because the Divine Masculine is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of your soul. And so that soul is going to reflect that soul back to the soul, whatever is going on within. This is why we get into those bouts of back and forth, of feeling like, you know, having the this impression of the running and chasing, you know, of the push and pull, of the off and on, and all of those sort of things, is because those energies are going on within us. Those push and pull energies are going on within us, because we are not in balance within. And so if we're not in balance within, then everything in our external world is also going to feel out of balance. It's not just the Divine Masculine. And I think this is what we really need to understand when we are experiencing this type of awakening is that it isn't just about the divine masculine or the divine feminine counterpart, right? It isn't just about the reflection of you back to you. It's about the reflection of you back to you, like exponentially, like everything within you, like everything around you is still that reflection of what is going on within you. This is how we sort of run all those patterns of feeling like, you know, this thing is falling apart, or this thing is falling apart, or I don't understand this thing, or, you know, why do I keep going round and round in circles with my job, right? Or why does my car keep breaking down? Or, you know, why do I keep going to the gym and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere? Or why do I keep trying to quit smoking and it's just too damn hard? Or, you know, all of these things are coming from some sort of belief system, condition, and programming that we are holding within. And so we come through an awakening process with the twin flame, right? Which is actually your same soul. We need to kind of drop the labels. So the soul has decided to come in, right? You, yourself, is coming in is not the word either, but you yourself as creation is awakening the self and has decided that this was the best way to awaken you through your other self, right? Through this situation. But the thing is that, and I said this in another video that I made the other day, is that when we're on a twin flame path, the majority of us, even if you've been on this path for a long time, the majority of us, we get so caught up in thinking that the prize or the goal or the aim is to acquire that person, is to acquire that physical person, right? Instead of remembering, I am experiencing a spiritual awakening. I'm actually going through an ascension process right now. And that is the purpose of this. This is why this is happening to me. But we get so focused on all the externalities, and we're so caught up in what our mind is saying, and we're believing what the mind is saying over and over again based on all of these conditions, that we just feel like, you know, this is sort of a normal situation that's going on in our life. And just like we tried to get this job, or we applied to that school, or we wanted to get this car or that house or this degree or whatever else, we're conditioned to always want those things that are outside of us. And so the twin flame path comes along, you're going through an awakening, but that condition is still coming up that's saying, now I want that person. And that's what this path is. This path is, I want that person. But that's not what the path is. So just like when you are in a place where you've just completely allowing, right, the universe, God, source, creation to guide you, right? Say you applied for a job, right? You really want this job. But you know that if you're like really like holding on to it and gripping hard and thinking about it all the time and you know that doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good to always be like, I have to have this job. If I don't get this job, and then inevitably you don't get the job because you've been putting out into the universe that you're not going to get the job, or you've been putting out into the universe that you're so anxious about it that you don't believe in it. So you have a belief that on some level you are not deserving of that. This is coming from self-love. This is coming from a lack of self-worth. This is coming from a place of not remembering that you are creation and that you are actually creating everything around you, right? And so the twin flame comes along and it's no different. Just like that reflection is back to you from that job that you've always wanted, that you're just having a really hard time getting because you're believing that that job is outside of you. And so you're in one timeline that's running lack and that's running all of these separation programs, and the job is in another timeline that's running abundance, right? And you're forgetting, because you're separating yourself from yourself, that you actually are abundance. And so you are in aligned with that job that you would like. That is also in the timeline of abundance. But you've forgotten who you truly are based on these programs and these belief systems and these imprints, the things that I'm always talking about, which are coming up over and over again in the mind. And we're believing them over and over again because we're so conditioned to trusting what our thoughts are saying, because they're talking 24/7, constantly, all of our life. We think they're who we are. And we believe we have an identity that's based on all of those things that are going on and the things that have happened in our life and our experiences and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what held you back from getting that job, right, was the fact that you didn't believe in it. On some level, somewhere, and I know people hate it when I say stuff like that or when other coaches say stuff like that. On some level, we are out of alignment with the timeline that we would like to experience. This is how law of attraction works. This is how law of assumption works. This is how universal law works. We have to be in that embodiment of knowing that I am abundance. I am abundance. And that all of these things that are telling me that I'm not are just a veil. They aren't real. It's just a veil. It's just an illusion. And so I have to drop this illusion and come back into self, come back into remembrance, come back into love. And then guess what? I jump timelines. I jump timelines. Now I'm in that abundance timeline. Now that job is being offered to me, or that school, or that degree, or that whatever it is being offered to me. Why? Because you've come back into alignment with the higher self, with you, right? You've come out of the alignment that I am lack and separation and all of these things and thoughts and ego programming. You've come out of that and you've come back into alignment that my natural state of being actually is love. It is abundance. I am a spark of source, God, creation, all that is, right? I am the light that lights worlds. This same exact example is what's going on with you and the Divine Masculine, or with you and anything. Honestly, it can be anything at all. It is that belief that somewhere deep inside, I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough for this. Right? And that belief and that program that is based on all of these conditions that we have all taken on is what is keeping us from that higher timeline, from that higher consciousness, from that higher vibration, higher frequency, where abundance is just the norm, right? We've incarnated into a reality that moves off of separation and that moves off lack and that moves off fear-based energy. And that's all fine and good. It is part of the experience that the soul has chosen to partake in, right? That's all fine and good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not right or right, it's not wrong. It just is. It's just the experience. But at some point, all souls go through an awakening. And they come out of the illusion that I'm separate and I'm lack and I'm duality and I'm polarization and I'm my thoughts and I'm my mind. Awakening is pulling you out of that. So just be aware that if you're on a twin flame path, the awakening is the point of this, right? The awakening is what sets you free. The awakening is what cuts you loose from the lack and the separation. It's not the twin that sets you loose from the lack and the separation and the lower timelines and, the fear frequencies and the anxiety and the thoughts and the stress and the go, go, go and all of those sorts of things. Being with the twin is not what sets you free from that. Your awakening sets you free from that. This is the point of this path, is to come out of the illusion that I am all of these other things. No, you're not. You're not those things, right? And this is a practice. It is a practice. It is something that you have to practice. I'm going to be talking a lot about this in my upcoming course that I'm going to be releasing, hopefully in April. That's my plan. That's my intention, is April. So just really keep that in mind, that we are always wanting to have that next best thing. The ego, the mind, is always wanting to have that next best thing. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. A new purse, a new pair of shoes, you know, job, car, house, dog, whatever it is, right? The twin now has taken another spot in your life that is saying, I need that now. You know, I need that thing now to complete me. And just like if you go out and you buy a new purse, it's great for like a week. You're loving that purse, right? Shoes, whatever material thing. Dogs don't fit into that role. They're amazing forever. But material things fit into that role. You know, you get a new car, it's great for a week, a month, and then you're just used to it. Then it's just the norm, right? So it doesn't fill this gap that we feel within us. Nothing will fill that gap that you feel within all of us that's coming from the external material world, including the twin. Because if we are not in a self-loving place, if we are not in a self-worth place, if we have not come back into the awareness that I am consciousness, which is the point of the awakening, which is the point of the twin flame path, then it won't matter if the twin is coming in and out of your life, because you're still going to be running a lack frequency, which means they will be coming in and out of your life, right? Because that's a reflection that's going on within you. It's literally a reflection. They are literally reflecting back to you what you're holding within you. And I know that that's like, it has a lot of like ownership and a lot of accountability, and we don't like to feel that. The ego, the mind, does not like to feel that. And it certainly doesn't like to feel like I've been on this fucking path forever, doing all this work, and I'm still not there, right? I'm still not there. But you are there. There's nowhere to get, right? There's nowhere to get. And I think that's something that I really need to like drive home more often than I probably do. You don't need to get anywhere. It's just coming back into the awareness that you're already it. You're already it. It's actually dropping the things that are telling you that you're not already it. So it's not acquiring anything, it's actually releasing the things. It's the release of the lack, the separation, the polarization, the duality. It's the release of that that brings you back into the, oh, I was here the whole time. I was here the whole time. I didn't actually have to go after myself, right? I didn't actually have to acquire awakening or acquire ascension or acquire a high vibration. These are natural processes. They are organic. They happen when you're going through an awakening process. The shedding process happens, but we can resist it. We can resist it. We can allow it to take longer than it needs to. How do we do that? By thinking that we have to chase something or acquire something, or all of these other things are gonna, you know, make me feel better and all of those sort of things. That's the veil. Like, that is literally the veil that is separating you from the higher timeline and the true essence that is you. Like, literally, that's what's happening here. You're already it. You are already it. It's just the remembrance that I'm not all those other things that I've been running all this time. And the slow release of all of those things, which, as I said, is organic. It is organic. Your vibration rises naturally when you're on an awakening path. Do you have to look at a bunch of shit you don't want? Yes, you do. You do. But that's organic as well, right? Do you have to release all of these expectations and attachments? Yes, you do. You do. Is that painful? To the ego, it's painful. To the ego, it's painful. But the ego is a false sense of self. The ego is not you, right? This is why we feel like the dark night of the soul is so painful and it's so hard. What it really is that you're releasing an identification of you that was never you to begin with. An attachment to yourself that was never yourself. Which, you know, the mind, that goes off the charts. Like, the mind doesn't want to deal with that. Mind has no idea how to deal with that. Which is why you always come back to the fact that this is not something that the mind is going to understand. This path is not a mind path. The mind operates from duality. Awakening, ascension, true consciousness is non-duality, right? It's coming back into oneness. What happens when we come back into oneness? Our external reality shows up like that, right? We don't have all of this separation going on. That's when the flow happens. That's when the magic happens. The mind thinks that that must be a magical thing. But in truth, that's just who you've always been. It's who you've always been. So pay attention to that reflection in a way that is assisting you, it's helping you, it's guiding you. That's why it's showing up. It's not showing up to make you angry. It's the ego that gets angry. It's not the true self that's getting angry. The true self is like helping this process, right? The true self is helping the trigger. It's pushing the things out that are not you. That is the awakening. The divine masculine, the physical aspect, as I've said 100 times, if that is in your highest good, that's the icing on the cake, right? We don't even need to think about that. It's the icing. Because coming back into union with self is the cake. It'll always be the cake. It'll never be the other way around. And that's why everyone's spinning on this path. Even if you're not a twin flame, even if you haven't experienced your awakening through a twin flame dynamic and you're going through an awakening process, it's still the same thing. It's not any different. And that's where we kind of get tripped up when we feel like, oh, well, it's the twin flame. And so that means it's just your awakening. It's just your soul saying, I need to knock on the door a little bit harder to get you to get it. Not everybody needs to go through this process as a twin. Some souls choose that, some souls don't. But it's still coming back into the remembrance that I am love, source, God, creation, all that is. I am oneness. I am all of these things. And the only thing that is telling me that I am not is this veil that's over here chitter-chattering and talking shit and trying to convince me otherwise. So that reflection is helping you. That reflection is your gift. And it's not only, as I said, it's not only coming from the divine masculine if you're a twin flame. It's coming from everywhere. You can't just rely on them to be showing you what's out of alignment. Your world will show you what's out of alignment if you are going through an awakening, right? And that's coming back into sovereignty, being aware of those things. That's coming back into unconditional love and the truth of what that is. So that's what I have for you guys. I hope that that resonates and I hope that that helps. You guys have an awesome day.